Well, welcome to mainly those who have just tuned in live at 6 o'clock. People are still coming in the door, so we're just going to leave the live streaming go for a little while, just while we're setting up. We're still getting sound and a few things sorted out, so you can listen to some Wales songs and just chill out there for a little bit while we get a little bit set up and people are arriving. If you've just tuned in to the live stream, this is the Nigaloo 2 launch, and we've got a number of speakers talking about various aspects of marine conservation, sharks, dolphins, whales, and what we can do to help. We've also got Soraya and Matt are going to be doing some singing with the plants as well, so it's a multi-species communication launch tonight. And I'm not going to talk too much now because I'm going to talk soon later, so I'll just leave the live stream going for a little while until we get a bit more settled in. So enjoy the Humpback Whale songs that I recorded up in Harvey Bay a year or two ago. I'll be back shortly. If you just tuned in, we're just getting settled, people are arriving, so I'd start the live stream now, but we're going to probably start in about 5 or 10 minutes, so just hang in there, enjoy the whale song, and we'll start in about 5 or 10 minutes as people are arriving. So. Matt. Good. So if you've just joined in on the live stream, we're just going to be starting in about 5 minutes. People are still arriving, Byron time. Just relax and enjoy the whale song that I recorded, the humpback whale singing in Harvey Bay. And we're going to start in just a few minutes. Starting now. Okay, well, welcome to the live streaming event. We're just about to get started. He's coming in a minute, and we're going to have a talk. Okay, well, we're going to start now, so I'll just, anyone in that other room want to come in? Just about to start. Okay. Yeah. I'll just have to, I'll just get rid of iTunes. Okay, well, welcome everybody, and hello. Thanks for coming out on this cold night, middle of winter, snow falling everywhere. Also, it's a special night too, where not only presenting here tonight, but I'd also like to welcome the visitors in cyberspace. So we're live streaming this event at the moment. There's a few people in Brisbane and really around the world too who like to get this information. And so live streaming this to my Migaloo 2 website and also Facebook. So the wonders of modern technology. The rough agenda for tonight is I've got a few films that we'll be screening. One of them is a film I made with Howie recently, Well, it was actually about this time last year when there was a whale stranding, and also a whale was caught up in some shark nets. And there's another film I made with Soraya, who came sailing with me last year up in Hervey Bay, and that's called Chanting with the Whales, which she hasn't seen yet. This is the premiere. In fact, it's a premiere for all these films. I'm the only one who's seen these. I've been editing them up in the last few days. So we'll be screening that. And also tonight is also another special occasion because it's the launch of my crowdfunding campaign for a film I've been working on for a while called The Whale Whisperers. And I've just put that up to Pozible, crowdfunding site, and they approved it today, and we're actually going to go online live and launch it live tonight. So that's another little event that's going to happen tonight. And that film will, talk about it. I've got a little clip that I'll present with that. But I thought first and also we're going to have a little break in about an hour and a half, and we've got some yummy food, curry and chai out there, and people can have some of that in the. I've got it sit a bit closer to the mic, don't I? Okay, all right. So so we'll have a dinner break, and then Soraya and Matt are going to be playing some music. And who else is? Oh, who are you playing with?
And I will be playing music.
Kunda. Oh, awesome! Hey. Oh, fantastic! And the plants are going to be singing as well. We've got a few of these plants in the background. They're not just pretty decor. They're going to be hooked up with a special little device that allows us to actually hear the plants. They put the pulse from the plants. Soraya will explain it properly later, but I just want you not to miss this because this is going to be amazing. She hooks the plants up to like a lie detector, so it gets the signal of the plants and puts it through this device, which it's got algorithms set and like a synth in it as well, so that the plants actually make music, and Soraya chants with the music. I'll let her explain that better later, but don't miss that too after the break. It's going to be very special. We're also going to play some whale music that we played before with the plants, and we'll see what sort of alchemic mix we get going with the whales and the plants, and us too. We can chant along, so it's definitely is an interspecies communication night tonight. Mm-hmm. So I just want to start with, before I pass on to Howie, just a little bit about Migaloo 2 and what that is. Over on my left, is Ray Thorpe, the founder of the Happy High Herb Company, and we have to thank Ray for tonight and for the boat because Ray was actually the main sponsor, or the only sponsor really, of Migaloo 2. Which is it's a marine conservation yacht, and I've been friends with Ray for a long time, and we got together and we decided to buy this boat in Samoa, and I've been using it for the last 5 years, mainly as a way to bring about awareness to marine conservation issues. And so we've been raising a lot of issues, mainly to do with the conservation of the marine environment, the whales. I've been looking at the shark nets and looking at raising awareness about that. We did a trip with Migaloo 2 up to right up to the Whitsundays, and we looked at the development along the coast. The mining in Gladstone, the dumping of the dredge spoils up there, and just looked at the development along the coast. And we've incorporated live streaming as an element in a way of raising awareness about these issues, and also having gigs like the one tonight. We're usually often in ports where I sail up to. So I've been going up to Hervey Bay for the last 5 years, pretty much, and deepening my understanding and level of communication of whale consciousness. And that's been very special to do that. Sometimes spending 2 to 3 months up in Hervey Bay with the hydrophone in the water, playing didge with the whales, meditating with the whales, chanting with the whales, and just being up in that wilderness environment. It's been incredibly special. So I've been inspired to make this film about, really it's about telepathic communication with the whales, and fortunately we've got one of the most amazing animal communicators coming to Byron in October to do a workshop in animal communication. Her name is Anna Brakenbach. She's from South Africa, and there's a little bit of that in the clip, which I'll show a little bit later as well. And she'll be coming out with me and some others in a chartered boat after she does the workshops here in Byron to telepathically communicate with the whale. So I think it's a very exciting time we're in at the moment in human history, where the veils of separation that we've created are falling away, and we're able to, these windows of opportunity to communicate, with the plants, with the whales, with the spirit world as well, are becoming more and more common and available. And so I'm really excited about that. And also, by being that, by communicating with those animals, it's also we become a voice for those animals and for the trees. So we can help to stop a lot of the, I guess, the abuse that's happening to the environment and also the animal kingdom as well. So with that level of communication comes a responsibility to act and to speak for these animals, which is what we're doing tonight. And with that, I'd like to introduce a great friend of mine, Howie Cook. Well, okay, why don't we show that video clip that we made first, and then that leads us into your talk. So I'm just going to press a few buttons and get a few things sorted out here. So we've got we're using Google Plus as a streaming device. So I've just got to press a few buttons here. So I've got to see what I'm doing. Here we go. All right. So where are we? Here we go. At the moment, just off Byron, there's a humpback whale, juvenile. It's got looks like a shark net wrapped around it, and it's been swimming up and down here for a few hours now. We're waiting for SeaWorld to turn up, but they haven't turned up yet. It's now 5 hours later.
And it has been blowing every 15 seconds.
That's what I mean. That's when you know it's in distress.
Yeah.
So if we could take a left.
Yeah.
Chances are that we could maybe take it further out to sea and into the giant pod, but depending on how young it is.
Are you going to have a vehicle on the beach to go up to them?
Not at this stage.
The way you can see it traveling now, it's either going to drown or it's going to beach itself.
All right.
Get close now. What SeaWorld one it's good vision too. The tail's moving, so he's not paralysed. So it looks like he's going to be able to get out. There's a bit of a channel going down there. They've checked out, so I might try and take him out that way. But he's pretty keen to get moving. The tide's dropping pretty quick, so just got to let him know that we're here to help. So the situation is now they're trying to put some sort of brace underneath the whale and then tow it out. They've lost a lot of tide. They've probably lost about nearly 8 inches from high tide. So let's hope it's not too late for it today in this tide. Otherwise, you're going to have to wait till high tide. It looks like the rope is just snapped. So reload. Looks like they're reloading all the Zodiac now to give them a good play. Looks like we should have taken over and some of the Keystone cops using technology. We should have just all jumped in the water and pushed her out.
Yeah, well, in whale rescues I've done before, we don't call the authorities.
Yeah.
We just take it into our own hands, and they've always been successful.
So,
It's good that I've done it.
so what do you reckon the problem here is?
It's too late. The effort's too late. And now, it's actually going to hurt the animal if they put too much. Like that nylon rope probably have a breaking strain of 6 to 8 tonnes. That's how much force was on its pectoral fins.
Yeah.
And over its eye, too.
Yeah, over its mouth.
What do you reckon, Howie?
Well,
We'll have to wait till high tide tonight.
I'm sure in all these years they've got it worked out that sort of steel, like a wire running through a braided gauge, like stronger rope than this must exist in the world.
Yeah, the line's too light.
Way too light.
It's
And
only
on top of that, it's going to lead over the mouth and like the whole idea you get to the lift the chin, it'll be like a shark gag sort of thing. Chin drops down.
You see the guy standing behind it there in ankle deep water.
Yeah.
It's sitting in its own hole of about 40, 50 centimetres. That's bog.
So what do you reckon should have happened today?
We should have just gone in. We should have stepped up at 5 a.m., lifted her nose out, pointed into the sea, and then it's how we've done the rest.
We're under constraint from the national park.
Yeah.
Queen's Park's wildlife, so it's not to go either way.
It's a bit frustrating.
Standard procedure. But we were relying on them saying that the boat would be here before high tide. And there was no boat. There was no boat that should have been ahead of time.
There was
On standby.
There was 50 minutes before it bothered the light, wasn't it? Okay, so that was, here we go. That was this stranding. In fact, I prefer to call it a beaching than a stranding. There's, I'll let Howie talk some more about that. Just on the issue though of beaching. A couple of years ago when I went up to Hervey Bay, there was some orcas that beached themselves up in the Sandy Straits, which had never happened. No one had ever heard of orcas going right up in the Sandy Straits behind Hervey Bay and beaching themselves and dying. And I actually put 2 and 2 together and worked out that it was just a week or so after, or it might have even been during the war games that America is doing with the Australian Navy. They're actually up there at the moment, right in the middle of humpback whale migrating season, and they use these sonar devices in the water to to detect submarines and things like that. So they're testing and using the sonar. When I was up there 2 years ago, Migaloo was just coming up into the area, and we put a press release out saying, how would the Navy like to be responsible for killing the only white whale in the world? So they said they wouldn't do any sonar testing then, but then. Well, that was 4 years ago, but then 2 years ago, these orcas turned up in an area, where it's difficult to navigate. Well, it seems to me that they've had their eardrums blown out by the sonar, and they ended up stranding on a beach down near Hervey Bay. So you know, the underwater world is something that we need to take into account too when we think about whale conservation. You know, they get blasted by all sorts of noises, but these military sonar tests is disastrous for them. So with that, I'd like to introduce Howie Cook, member from who co-founder of Surfers for Cetaceans, who's, I think, got the record of being to the most International Whaling Commission gatherings around the world as a NGO. So Howie, I'd like to welcome Howie Cook. You just have to sit down there. And, in the module microphone a little bit.
How's that?
Yep, that's good.
Is this weird? Yeah, it makes my blood boil when I see that footage and what happened up there with that whale. And I think Dean's absolutely right when he talks about those orcas that stranded in the Sandy Straits. Talisman Sabre, which is on right now, American and Australian military exercise that happens every 2 years, happens at the same time as the whale migration, where they're dropping tons of ordnance and bombs into the sea and all that kind of stuff. And we see the result of that. It is a different world. Sound travels 5 times faster in water. It's a way more efficient carrier of sound than air. And I sometimes to try and explain it to people, like, imagine if you're trying to walk around and someone's just slapping you in the face the whole time. You're trying to see, and someone just slaps you in the face the whole time, and you just can't do anything. That's essentially what you've got to imagine their acoustic world is like when they're being harassed like this, to the point where real damage is done, and those whales will die. And they will come in and strand. Single stranding situations, usually either a whale will come in because it wants to die, because whales are mammals, so they have an innate fear of drowning. So an old lone whale will come up and beach herself to die breathing. They have an innate fear of drowning, or a reflex against drowning. And yet I've been at strandings where a whale, for example, was euthanized by SeaWorld, and one of the reasons they said was, well, if you put this whale back on the water, she'll probably drown. Now, a whale is one of the last animals that wants to drown. With this whale here, it was really frustrating because the high tide was around about between 4 and 5 in the morning. It was changing each day slightly. And we were there on time every day. And you could hear that whale bellowing right out on the Gold Coast Highway. Very, very strong, vigorous whale. And SeaWorld arrived up to an hour and a quarter late for that high tide, which was really, important. They used ropes, as was being pointed out there, that snapped 5 times. They were dragged over. The ropes were dragged over her mouth. There wasn't a proper bridle. There's lots of things when you go to these strandings, logic kicks in, and you go, but why? But what? But wouldn't? And they have the powers. This parks here in Australia up to 4 miles, and obviously they achieve some good things. Like if you have a humpback whale dragging fishing tackle, like which happened recently, and that was released from the whale. One of the techniques which has been used in parks up here at Byron Bay is these large floating balloons that are put into hooked onto the whale, so the whale's already swimming slower, and they slow the whale right down to the point where they can put divers in the water and cut that stuff free properly. So there are some good things, but there's a whole bunch of things to do with hardware and technique that has to be upgraded big time. And we did come away from that stranding saying we need to have a round table with SeaWorld and parks over this issue, because when it came down to that 3rd day, we put on our wetsuits and said, to hell with this. And there was 1,500 people on the beach, and Parks said, what are you doing in your wetsuits? And I said, well, it looks like you guys have knocked off. And they said, and they said, you cannot get in the water, all the usual things about fine and imprisonment. And Malia, who was in that clip, who's a marine biologist, read them the riot act on the way that they were trying to pull the whale the wrong way across the current. They should have been slipping the whale south with the current, then turning her out to sea. There's a whole lot of shoulds about all this. Those small leather bridles over the shoulders should be big fluffy things that are clipped on, not dragged up over the flipper. And these are the kind of things we have to talk to these people about.
That whale actually died too.
Well, I was going to get to that, and so we told them to hell with it. Then we're going to have to break the law, and we ran the line and we called for help, and people ran out of the crowd. There were guys just ripping all their clothes off and just down to their undies joining us. Guys who probably never had really anything much to do with whales, but the spirit of the whole thing was to get this whale back into the sea. The tide was starting to drop. SeaWorld had given up, and we were very sure when they mentioned about the vet was coming at midnight that this would mean the whale would be euthanized from previous experience of seeing this happen, because it's just to expedite this problem of this whale. They were spending an average of 25 minutes at effort on the whale, which was like 8 SeaWorld people. We pushed on that whale for quite a while. It was an incredible experience. They put on a big light on us and, you know, like to be protecting her eye right here and being careful we didn't stand on a flipper, and she's blowing and trumpeting and she so wanted to get out. And, you know, the guy lifting her chin, trying to pull her chin out of the sand, and she's doing the whole thing. It was an amazing experience, and for a while there we were winning. But when the tide drops, whales will always start to turn parallel to the beach, and this is what happened. And later on, they of course said that we caused the whale to turn side onto the beach and caused the stranding of the whale. But she really wanted to go. But they took on board, I believe, our protest, because the next day they spent 158 minutes trying to get that whale out. They took the advice of Maria and they ran the whale south, and they got the whale out. The unfortunate thing is, with all the previous 3 days of hauling on her shoulders with inadequate gear and rope snapping, they dislocated her shoulders essentially. She swam off and she died at the boneyard in South Stradbroke Road. She headed for the boneyard and died there. So we lost another humpback through.
Another one just recently too.
Yeah, there's well, which one are we talking about? The
Well, they just killed SeaWorld last week.
SeaWorld has a predilection for expediting the whales with so-called euthanasia. I was at a stranding in 2006, and I won't go into a big story about it, but it's stuck on my craw ever since. The fact that a perfectly healthy neonatal humpback whale was, I believe, pushed by her mother onto the beach during a shark attack. And I believe that her mother was travelling with a 1-year-old daughter. So she had given birth south of Byron Bay, got into trouble with a shark off Cabarita, said to her daughter, "I'm pushing her in, she'll be all right. The high tide will sort her out. She's got 2 hours of water over her at 9 o'clock, where she is. She's at 9, tide's at 11, she's going to swim back out. And the humans will do the right thing." Well, what happened is, once the authorities took over, a vet from SeaWorld who wasn't even there just said, "Take her out of the water and get a blood sample." She was totally abused. She nearly had a flipper broken. She was landed high and dry and left there all night and never to be in water again, and then euthanized the next morning. And all the 8 reasons to euthanize a whale, not one of those reasons applied to this whale. The interesting point, which you can always apply to these strandings and the behavior of the authorities, where they don't put rescue and return as the, you know, like stabilization, not rehabilitation, stabilization and return to the sea. The question you can put is a very simple one, which is, would you do this to this whale if this whale was Migaloo? And you get a very clear picture then that they will bump off a anonymous little female, helpless little female, didn't have a scratch on her, and really wanted to be out with her mum back in the sea, and was ready to swim. We had her in the water, ready to swim. But they would never do that to Migaloo, and people will rush to Migaloo from all over the world to make sure that Migaloo has the best of care. So we're going to have this problem, and this problem each year with the migrations, and this problem will increase, and we have to somehow work with these 9-to-5ers who want to just get the problem over and done with and not be paying people overtime. And get rid of those pesky volunteer unpaid hippies that go there 24/7 and argue. So we have to work out a way to work with them and to improve the situation. So that's all I'll say about that. Are there any questions on that though?
I just want to say that any individual can join Orca, who they train people to help stranded whales. So they do workshops in the area, and I recommend people do that. And one of the things that I've been writing too, and we're sort of a little bit of hot water about, is
Do you sit here?
is go now. Well, I probably should actually.
I'll be back.
Sorry. Is that don't go too far. I'm going to grab you again. It's just, if you do see a stranding, I would suggest not to call SeaWorld. Some people have called me a cowboy because of that, but we've been to strandings and we've seen what SeaWorld does, and I think it'd be much more effective to help the whale by actually calling up some friends, maybe calling Orca, and getting a group of people and getting it back out to the water as quick as possible, because some of those situations that they could have just been pushed in by the mother to get away from a shark attack. It's not like they're sick and they can't go back out in the water, although sometimes that's the situation. But I would say generally, try to get the whale back out in the water as soon as possible. Give me and Howie a call if you see it. In fact, we did get a call once. So yeah, that's just a little bit on stranding. Howie, you've got a wealth of information about Taji and the Faroes. Do you think you could just touch on that, one of them a little bit?
I don't want to bring people down too much at all.
Well, there are some positive stories about marine stuff, but there's also some other information that's going on. And Sea Shepherd have been very involved in a lot of those things, and we sort of work with Sea Shepherd, although we've got our own group that we manage ourselves, me, Migaloo too, and Howie as Surface Visitations. So Howie, give us a talk about Taji and the Faroes.
All right. I'll just try and give you an overview of situations going on at the moment around the world. And of course, that will mean that I will actually be mentioning Sea Shepherd quite a lot. I am a Sea Shepherd crew, third officer sort of thing, and it's always been an honour to be on those campaigns of Sea Shepherd in places like the Antarctic and the Faroes. Right now, Sea Shepherd is actually mounting. I'm assuming that you'll know a lot of this already, so you'll be aware that 2 of the Sea Shepherd ships are in the Faroe Islands, the Sam Simon, my favourite ship now, and the Bridget Bardot, and they're bringing an immense amount of pressure down on this issue of the killing of pilot whales and dolphins up there in a thing called the Grind. I will try to remember that over there I've made a sign, and if we could photograph everybody up holding the sign, then we can add that to all these people around the world that are holding up the sign against the killing of these whales in the Grind. So, yeah, actually, the Faroe Islands, I was there one time on an undercover operation with Sea Shepherd. Wasn't undercover for too long because the captain paid for provisions, I think the diesel, using a Sea Shepherd credit card in the Shetland Islands. So when we sailed from the Shetland Islands in Lerwick up to Faroe Islands, we were followed by a Danish patrol boat, which is called, I actually got the name of it here somewhere, not that it's that important. There's a whole bunch of them. It's called the Brimmel. And the Brimmel's up there as well. The Danish Navy has increased their force against Sea Shepherd, and they're now patrolling 4 ships following Sea Shepherd. When we were up there, it was the one. We were there trying to stop any killing of whales, of course, but that's very difficult to do up there. It's a whole bunch of bays, it's a big area. But at night, when the Navy couldn't see us, we were dropping industrial fire alarms, industrial smoke alarms in the sea at 10 meters below the surface with these little splay anchors, and just setting them off, and they were good to go for 6 weeks. It was pretty satisfying to be able. They make a hideous noise, so we loaded the bays with bad acoustics to try and keep the pilot whales from coming into the bays and staying offshore. We also, I've got photos on a thing here, but can we go to photos, or is that tricky? Maybe, don't worry. When we were there was a grinds that happened. 87 pilot whales were killed in 7 minutes by 400 people with knives on a beach, and they decapitated them and so forth, and took them to dump them straight back in the sea. None of them were used for anything. And we were trying to figure out where they dumped them, and there's ravine breaks in the cliffs, and it's a very austere and fantastic place. It's got these big ravines, and we put a diver in the water, and we found this massive underwater grave where pilot whales had been obviously dumped for God knows how many years, and there were the 87 whales on top, bleaching and so on. We brought on 2 heads and a baby's tail. It was my job to actually land them on the deck, and all the women were weeping, and we smuggled them back into the Hook in Holland and across to Paris for Paul Watson and Bridget Bardot to use in an action outside the Danish embassy, where the French gendarmes and all that were really pissed off of what the Danish are allowing at the Faroe Islands. And but one of the upshots from that's worth mentioning is that on board was a lovely English girl surfer, because we're always trying to get surfers to to take action against these sort of things. And she was so upset and said, I want to do something with her little NGO to do with surfing. And so I said, well, I can think of a name. And she was like, what? And I went, Women for Whales. And she was like, oh my God. I said, you have half the world on your side. So there is this group out there called Women for Whales now that's formed. And I think the running joke about Women for Whales is that there's a group out there also called Men for Women for Whales. Because there's a whole lot of beautiful surfer girls, and it's a ladies-only website kind of thing. So that's a positive story that came out of a really horrible situation in the Faroe Islands, and I do wish I would love to be up there right now, back in that place, because it's vile what happens up there. And like all whaling, it represents more than the ultimate act of cowardice. I've always been saying for years that for a terrestrial male who comes from these little rocky outcrops on planet Ocean to go to the ocean, which is what this planet is, and to shoot the biggest breathers in the back deliberately, and in the case of the females, the biggest women on the planet, to shoot the biggest woman in the back is not only the ultimate act of cowardice, it's the ultimate act of misogyny. And in discussions with Women for Whales and other women who turn up at the International Whaling Commission, I brought this up a lot. And there is this feeling that the new way that feminism would surely go is into this arena of feminism. And this is just one aspect of our relationship with each other and with animals. But we cannot just reside in our anthropomorphic world of, well, what's important for us, that's what it's all about, and everything else is secondary. It cannot be that way for us to move forward into the future. That we have to see the values that we have for ourselves and our communities, and the idea of human rights spreads equally across to the animal kingdom and to the plant kingdom. And there's no other way, in my opinion. So I've always been interested in this thing about this misogyny, this killing of whales, this hatred of these mothers, and this disembowelment of whales, and the cutting of fetuses out of the mothers and so forth. This is what the Faroe Islands are doing. It's a shocking thing, and it will stop, but it requires the writing of letters to the Danish government, keeping pressure on. So, I do have this group, Surfers for Cetaceans, and we kind of got known back in the day for paddling out in the cove in Japan and being attacked by Japanese dolphin hunters there. But we managed to stop them from killing pilot whales and dolphins for over a week just by being in Osaka with all our surfboards stacked up in a hotel. They got a call from the hotel going, oh, well, I don't know what they're doing, but they're planning something. And when we went down there, 22 of us paddled out on surfboards, and And, you know, when 6, including some celebrity girls, it was mostly women, which is great again, who paddled out for those pilot whales. They got attacked. And it was a big shock to the world to see that. And we're trying to find that way. People have gone into the water and cut nets, and Sea Shepherd, you know, doing this fantastic pointy end of conservation and ramming ships and sinking ships. I'm all for it. But we've been trying to find this other way where we can bring celebrities, surfers and actors and so forth to the story, and that then a lot more people listen to what's happening and will take action. And we seem to be, that's where we seem to be at really strong at the moment with social media, how quickly things spread and how quickly people can come on board and either be caught out badly or in what they're doing, or being able to enact things very quickly on behalf of whales and dolphins. So look, I was going to give you a quick overview. Shall I do that, or is it getting boring? You can call Dean and say, Dean, get a movie on. All right, I was going to give you a quick overview around the world because it is quite interesting, and I have written some notes to make sure I don't miss anything, but I think we've talked about the Faroes. That's going to be a huge success. I believe the Faroes is just going to be forced by European Union and by world opinion to stop this bloodbath. Now, Sea Shepherd have a whole lot of interesting things going on. They have a turtle defense campaign, and actually it's really interesting that just on Monday, Sea Shepherd crew up in Costa Rica formed a human circle around a leatherback turtle and protected her while she was giving birth and got her 62 eggs relocated to a safe hatchery. There's a whole lot of problems for turtles because people are stealing their eggs around the world, and it's getting to be a really big issue that's causing massive decline for turtles that are often already in endangered situations, like the hawksbill that got slaughtered in Costa Rica recently. Extremely on the verge of extinction, that turtle in some places. And the interesting is that one of the Sea Shepherd volunteers up there, who was actually the team leader in Costa Rica, is Brett Bradley from the Gold Coast, from the Tweed. He's a good mate, and he got beaten up along with someone else there, but they stuck it out and they held their ground. They got shots fired at them and all the rest of it, but they got a good result in the end, where these Sea Shepherd actions on behalf of turtles up in Costa Rica, and also on behalf of sharks, of course, is having the effect now where Coast Guard and police are actually taking action on behalf of wildlife properly for the first time. So little by little, we keep seeing those changes coming, and it's just by the inspiration of Captain Paul Watson, who never backs down. So that's a good one. As you might know, up in Scotland, there's a salmon fishery which has been shooting seals. They're up there netting salmon, so they've been setting up with telescopic rifles and shooting seals, and Sea Shepherd has been right on that case and identifying them, identifying the company and identifying the issue. That will slowly but surely change. The Sea Shepherd has a new ship, I can't believe I've met this guy quite a few times. Who's the actor? Martin Sheen. Yeah, he's a good guy. I know him quite well. It's funny. Martin Sheen has had a boat named after him, a yacht, and that's been doing educational things like in Costa Rica, taking school kids out and heading to the Cocos Islands right now. And so that whole thing of the fact is Costa Rica has fabulous marine conservation things set up, but they have had issues with shark mafia and all the rest of it. So these campaigns help swing it around to become a populist thing where the people want to see those marine conservation areas work. And she's also been in Mexico doing dolphin protection down there. There's a little dolphin called the vaquita. The vaquita's down to about 50 left, unlike the Maori dolphin in New Zealand. These are the two rarest cetaceans left on the planet. They're both in trouble, but if you want to follow up on any of these things, when you get to the International Whaling Commission, you'll find there's one guy turns up from Mexico, and his passion is the vaquita dolphin, and he's the expert. And people like that always love to hear from anybody, anywhere in the world who's saying, I'd love to help. So
that's the world we live in now, where we can communicate with people anywhere in the world on these issues. Iceland has got 1,700 tons of fin whales sitting on a Norwegian boat called the Winter Bay. She's registered out of St. Kitts. St. Kitts is a puppet state of the Japanese whaling lobby. She's sitting in Tromsø, Norway, trying to transit through Russian waters to Japan to unload fin whale meat, which this is Christian Lofson. I see him every other year at the International Whaling Commission. He's attacked me in a bar in Japan. We're like the nemesis to each other. Paul Watson and I intimidated him out of a bar one time at an International Whaling Commission in Madeira off the coast of Portugal. Dean and I have chased him with a camera in Santiago in Chile. But he's this classic case of one very unenlightened person who's running a whole industry, giving a bad name to Iceland, which has a whale watch industry, which is really pissed off with him. And here he is trying to break CITES regulations against trading in endangered species, the second largest animal to ever live on the planet, the endangered fin whale, and ship it through to Japan. And so Sea Shepherd is trying to put a block on that ship. So all of these actions like slowing down the trade are very effective, as you know, with the shipping of dolphins, getting the airliners to stop carrying them, all that kind of thing of shutting down the movement of wildlife, whether that wildlife is alive or dead. Very, very effective. And so, and actually behind this whole thing with that is Pamela Anderson, a celebrity who's been extremely helpful to Sea Shepherd on this issue, and also to do with the Canadian issue of killing 500,000 seals that they want to kill and are in the middle of killing right now in Canada. And Pamela Anderson's been a great voice in trying to stop the trade from going into places like Russia. The European Union put an absolute ban on the import of seal pelts, so has China, the United States. So entire countries putting a block down is also becoming more effective. And why is it becoming? Why are they doing this? Because they're doing it because of people power pressure. That's what's working. All of these petitions, these websites, they really do work, and they bring about change.
Are they doing that just for pelts, or they trying to clear for resources?
It's the killing of the pelts. It's also to create employment, because the fisheries, the cod fisheries on the east of Canada collapsed because of overfishing, so the seal was blamed. In actual fact, in the ecology of the whole thing, the seal was eating as its favourite food a fish that was a predator on the cod. So they hastened the demise of the cod by killing the seal. And of course, Rod Stewart just got busted by Sea Shepherd trying on a seal skin jacket when he was in Newfoundland, and now he's backpedaling like crazy because Facebook just lit up and had a go at him. And I think I wrote, "The old hot rod is blowing a head gasket." So just to try and not be too hard on him, but he needs to be. He's no different from anyone else. It's disgraceful. So there's another issue raised by Sea Shepherd, and that's this thing of krill products. And I don't know if you remember a while ago, they're still around, you'll see those things about shark cartilage, good for arthritis and all the rest of it. There's this real problem out there in animal rights in the world, where new markets are being developed all the time for animals. If the emphasis goes off on one area, oh, we don't need the meat anymore, but we can use the oil. Oh, we don't need the oil, but we can use the skins. One of the latest things, unfortunately, in the world, and particularly pertaining to whales, is this thing of pharmacological industry. So that both Norway and Iceland are trying to build the idea of products from whales, from their glands, from the endocrine systems, from the pituitary gland, to be able to sell things at $500 for a microgram of whatever and say it's going to cure you of whatever. So sharks was an issue, and it was raised by the shark crew, by the divers and everything, and they managed to slowly push shark products back out of health food stores that thought they were being clever, having that sort of stuff. Now we see krill products turning up everywhere. It's in Coles, at Woolworths, Blackmores. So Blackmores is under a big push by Sea Shepherd at the moment on this issue. They are pulling $200 million worth of krill a year out of the Antarctic by just on that issue of the Antarctic alone, it is a disgrace. That is the giant food bowl for the biggest, marine ecology on the planet. And as everyone knows, no one should, even sea ships, we shouldn't be there. When you're in the Antarctic and you're looking across and you're watching humpbacks of fin waves blowing, and behind them is a harpoon ship, it's so mind-bendingly insane, because nobody should be down there, except maybe a handful of tread lightly scientists and all the rest, but there shouldn't be ships in there. There certainly shouldn't be factory ships carrying oil and ammonia and so forth down there. So, oh God, I think I should stop soon because I'm going on. But I'll just quickly note just a couple of those other things. I just want a word up for Operation Icefish. I worked on the Sam Simon for 3 weeks, right up until the day she left to go to the Antarctic, painting murals all through the ship. I have this wonderful honour of being the artist who's slowly decorating a ship that used to belong to the Japanese whaling fleet. And so I've been painting all through the ship like a giant squid battling with a sperm whale, and the squid is actually grabbing up the actual fire axe on the wall. And I painted 2 ice fish before that campaign, full size, over a metre long, crossed like the Sea Shepherd Trident and Shepherd's Crook. And they're saying, thank you, Sea Shepherds. And some Sea Shepherds came back from that 147-day campaign and told me it was the best thing, when you're getting up again to go back on what was one of the hardest Sea Shepherd campaigns ever, and to see, just as you went round to get on the stairs to head up to work, you see this ugly, gnarly toothfish going, thank you, Sea Shepherds. He said, oh, just gave me the energy to keep going. So, amazing campaign, which led to the ship that they were chasing, the Thunder, scuttling herself and becoming essentially the 12th ship to be sunk by Sea Shepherd's actions. I would perhaps I'll come back. I'll come back and run up on a few things, but we've got a lot of that hard stuff out of the way, so you can have some more fluffy stuff. Yeah. Good luck, everyone.
Thanks, Howie. True legend and a real brother for the cetaceans as well. Excuse me. So, what I'd like to just talk a little bit about now that I talked a little bit about before was this film that I'm working on called the Whale Whisperers. And without me saying much, I'm just going to put the clip on and let the clip speak for itself. So I've just got to press all the right buttons here. Where are we? Here we go. Hello, all you people out in Cyberland. Yeah, just want to remind. Oh, yeah, that's right. Turn that off. Thank you. No speakers down. Thanks. Okay, so this is a film I've really been dreaming up for a long time, and it's finally taken shape, and I've filmed already quite a bit of material for it, and very excited about Anna Brackenbuck coming over to Australia soon. So this is it. I have a passion for communicating with whales. Probably started about 10 years ago when I was surfing just out back here in Byron Bay. And a humpback whale came up to me about a metre away and just eyeballed me. And I guess life just hasn't quite been the same since. She looked at me and just eyeballed me and she winked at me. Since then, I've been going up to Hervey Bay every year and spending between a week and 5 months up there with the whales, deepening my communication with the whales. And in that time, I've had glimpses of telepathic communication, which has sent me on this quest to just communicate as deeply as possible.
Hello, yes, hello. Oh,
Oh man!
I was really inspired recently when I saw a film called Animal Communicator, which was a film about Anna Brackenbach from South Africa, where she communicates with lots of animals. But specifically, this thing that inspired me was when she communicated with this black panther.
There's a very particular thing about his name, Diablo. He wants that name changed because he doesn't like the associations with it, the blackness, the darkness, the diabolical. And when asking him about his past before coming here, he shows concern for 2 young cubs that were next to him. He's asking what happened to them with a great sense of care and concern.
And then she said something about the cubs that were with him. And that changed this whole thing, because now all of a sudden, you know, that's something that she didn't know about.
And I've also reassured him that you have no demands of him here, that you're quite happy to not make any physical demands of him or any expectations for display or interaction, that you're really willing to let him be how he wants to be. And that's given him an enormous sense of relief. Yeah. And having told him that is for the first time made him actually genuinely interested and now exploring a bit further. Now that he feels that he's not being asked to come out more, he's genuinely interested in being relaxed enough to have a natural curiosity come out and to actually expand his horizons a bit.
And Yerch was just stunned when the black leopard walked out of his night shelter into the larger enclosure later in the afternoon. In the 6 months that the cat had been here, Yerch had never seen him out of the night shelter. He then decided to rename the leopard Spirit.
He shows me an image of literally stopping in his tracks. I was surprised at that sense of just this wall of appreciation coming towards him. He is so relieved that nothing's being demanded of him here. He's just so relieved. It's like this weight is lifted from his shoulders. And when he was grunting back, he said he was saying thank you for the thank yous. So each thank you he was getting, he was saying thank you back. Is there anything you'd like to say about that feedback?
I think we'll talk about this later. I couldn't listen. So we'll talk about it later. It's okay. I'm overwhelmed.
The communication was able to be verified by the carer in the cat rehabilitation centre, and so that inspired me to make this film, really, because I wanted people to believe what the whales are saying, not just think, oh, I can hear a whale, but actually really have it verified and know that this is the message that's coming from the whales. Love you! My last documentary was called Shamans of the Amazon. It's quite a groundbreaking film about one of the rituals that they use over there, which helps them to develop, amongst other things, telepathic communication with the animal and also the plant and the spirit world as well. It's using a couple of plants and it's been used for thousands of years.
Y tener más energía para el chamán y para controlar toda la selva. Entonces la boa es un chamán, o tigre es un chamán, espiritualmente. Todo animal contiene a este espíritu de ayahuasca. No es droga, sino es para conocer visión.
I knew that drinking ayahuasca could be a very intense experience, that it tasted foul and often it made you vomit. I was feeling apprehensive about how it would affect me.
I'm convinced that in its native setting, ayahuasca is a telepathic drug. I mean, small groups of tribal people are taking this thing and making group decisions based on group hallucinations, based on the collective database of the tribal group. They're seeing the information from a higher dimensional space.
So this inspired me also to travel around the world, to work with these shamans and animal communicators, to learn how to do it myself, and then take the viewer on this journey as well, so the viewer can learn as well. Can you imagine the messages that will come from the animals, you know, from the wild whales and dolphins, but also from the ones in captivity, even the factory farm animals, you know, what's their message to humanity? So I'm inviting you to come on board with this very exciting film. And I think once this film is made, it will change the way we view animals.
Love you. Thank you so much. We'll do all we can. Woo! Love you. Woo! Woo! Oh, yeah. Oh, hello. I love you too. Oh, yeah.
And who knows, there may even be some important message for humanity at this critical time in our evolution. Thank you. Yes, well, some people may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. And the world needs dreamers and visionaries and crazy people. So I'm happy to be in that category. Yes, The Whale Whisperers, very excited. I've been, my last film, Shamans of the Amazon, was about 15 years ago, so I'm really excited to be launching into this one. And very excited that Anna Brackenbach, who was, you know, the animal communicator in that film there with the Black Jaguar, she's coming to Byron and she's doing 2 weekend workshops. Unfortunately, they were booked out within a day of her notifying it to her 25,000 people on her database, because of course that video clip went viral, and now she's been running those workshops all around the world, and she also does lots of work in Africa, and, you know, communicate like that, you know, with helping people out, you know, with the animals. So she's coming in October, and I'm fortunate to be able to, I've organised a charter boat, so we're going out to the whales together, and I'm going to film that, so that's going to just be so amazing. We've also got the opportunity that if we get in the water within 100 metres, I mean, outside of 100 metres, and if we're able to communicate with the whales and say, hey, if you want to play, you know, come over, then that's a possibility as well. You know, at the moment there's legislation that you're not allowed to get in the water within 100 metres, but if you're in the water and the whales come up to you, then that's okay. I've been swimming with whales over in Tonga, where they, that was the footage that you saw in there, where that whale actually came up to me and winked at me, you know, and it was just incredible. So what I'm going to do now, and I've just got to press a few more buttons here, but I'm excited to actually launch, like, physically and cyberly, my crowdfunding campaign for this film. So just bear with me just for a second while I get this screen shots to behave. Okay.
And hopefully Anna will come do a talk at the community centre again.
Well, I really hope so. Yeah, because you know, a lot of people would just love to see her and listen to her. Unfortunately, she's completely booked out. All the workshops are booked out. She's doing a talk in Melbourne as well, and that's totally booked. In the two workshops here are booked out straight away. So anyway, this is the Pozible account. It's just in draft form at the moment because I haven't launched it yet. I'm just about to. So oh, that's me swimming with that baby whale over in Tonga again. Beautiful. So this is when you make a donation or a pledge in Pozible, you actually get something back. You know, it's a way of, you know, like for example, if you pledge $10 and you don't have to give it straight away. I'm after $4,000 to get some equipment. So when I get to that total, then the money gets drawn out of your credit details. If I don't get to the total, unfortunately, I don't get any money. But you get a lot of rewards. Like for example, if you give $10, you get a download of Whale Song. $30 is a Charms of the Amazon download, and various things right up to a day sale on Migaloo. So that's just a little bit of information about the campaign. That's the equipment that I'm after. A new laptop. This one is like 8 years old. It just doesn't really, you know, I'm struggling with it. A tripod, some live streaming gear, some really good gear, so I can live stream from the boats, and some hard drives, and it's just $4,000. And with that, I can go out and really start filming and getting some really good stuff, and also continue streaming, which is part of the strategy of getting information out, and also part of getting a database together and more people turned on to the whale. So that's just a little bit about the bit of film and about me, and then this is the page where I'm going to launch. Here we go. We go down to, oh no, oops. Take that back. Where are we? Here we go. I've just got to go down launch project. Here we are. Are we on screen for that? Yes. Here we go.
Drum roll.
Drum roll. Who's got the drums? Here we go. Launch project. Here we go. Yeah. It's now live. So look, if you so anyone who's out there in Cyberland, you can rush on there now and make a pledge. And I've got a month to get that 4,000. Yeah, when you're going home, you can go back to my website, which is migaloo2.com. Give me a half a day to put the link up on the new site, because I've only just now got this link, and yeah, and make a donation if you feel to, and you'll get some rewards back too, as well as just knowing that you're contributing to like an amazing film, and just this message of this telepathic communication, which I believe is well, of course it's possible. People are doing it all over the place, and what my aim is to learn myself, but also keep teaching people. But I just imagine going over to Taiji or the Faroes or somewhere and being able to communicate with the dolphins and pilot whales, going, hey, I think it's a good idea if you don't come into this cove here, just keep going out to sea or turn around and go back. And once we've got that level of communication, which I definitely believe is possible, then we can start up a really new relationship with the animal kingdom, and we don't have to be out there standing out in front of the Japanese embassy all the time with banners. We just go straight to the animals and go, hey, if you hear that certain frequency of motor, if you're down the Antarctic, stay clear, or whatever, So I'm excited about that, and also other possibilities too. Going into factory farms, for example, and going, okay, Mr. Pig laying down there in a jail, what do you think about this? And having them communicate what they're feeling, dolphins in dolphinariums, speak to them. So I'm incredibly excited about what's possible with that. Okay, that's enough about that. What I'd like to share now is a little bit of information about shark nets. Now, we saw a little bit that there was a whale caught up in a shark net in that other film, but there's been a campaign of just mass murder, really, against the whales, and against the sharks. There's 100 million sharks get killed every year, and that taking that off the apex predator in the ecosystem of the oceans has a disastrous effect. We're seeing various marine ecologies just being totally messed up because the shark is not taking out those the weak animals, or the normal food for the shark is now flourishing because there's no sharks, and that's disrupting the whole ecosystem of the marine ecology. So sharks, obviously are a very important part, and we've seen, some, sometimes people get bitten and sometimes they die, and it's a tragedy. Unfortunately, humans tend to think that, they shouldn't be eaten. They should just be the ones that get eaten. And so if anyone tries to hurt a human, it's like, no, you can't do that. And they just kill them and whatever. And we saw a few people get taken by white pointers over in WA last year and the year before, and the government, as a sort of a cowboy sort of approach, said, well, we're going to go out and we're going to kill all the white pointers, and any shark over 3 meters we're going to target, and that was, white pointers they're on the endangered list, they're a threatened species, but that didn't stop them. So I've got a little clip here that was sent to me by Nicole McLaughlin, who spent some time over there, and she shot a little bit of footage, and she was involved with this film. She was going to come down tonight, but she's actually doing another project, a very important project, which I can't even mention because it's a secret project, but a very important one to do with cetaceans. And that's all I'm going to say about that at the moment. And that's why she didn't make it down here today. She's doing something very, very important. So I'm going to just upload this clip. So just hang on there for a sec while I get this going.
It's worth noting on the culling of the sharks in West Australia that it went on while the great whites weren't really seasonally in the area. About 100 tiger sharks were killed. A lot of the breeding females were killed because they're going for the big ones. And there's no record of tiger sharks attacking anyone in West Australia for 84 years. When they killed over 100 of them. Most divers
This is just a segment out of this 1 hour film they made over there.
When we first jumped into the water and approached the tiger shark, which was struggling on the line, on the drum line, it was a sense of complete awe at this amazing animal, this huge shark that I've always wanted to see out in the wild. It was extremely sad that this was the first time that I'd seen a tiger shark was struggling, and it was pretty devastating, really. You could actually see that it had swallowed the drumline hook, so it was well and truly within its stomach. It was really confronting to see it, and just knowing how much suffering that this animal was going through itself, to know that we would be one of the last people to ever see this animal alive. It was really sad to see that this is what the government, the Australian government, wanted to do with these animals. Fisheries came over, they grabbed the shark and basically put it on the side of the boat. They were measuring it, and they quickly grabbed the power head gun and decided that it was a shark that was over 3 meters, and that they decided to destroy the shark. And then it took 4 shots to the head for this animal to die.
We followed it offshore, a long way offshore, where they dumped him. We had crew on board who were able to dive onto the bottom of the ocean at that point.
We did see a huge amount of blood coming out from gunshot wounds, and we could also see that these gunshot wounds were in different areas of the head. They seemed to be kind of all over the head of the shark. The footage that we got just proved that it's unacceptable to kill a shark in this way. To take 4 shots to the head for the shark to die is, from seeing it firsthand, it shouldn't be allowed anywhere in the world, and it wouldn't have been acceptable on land, and it shouldn't be acceptable whatsoever in the oceans.
Go for it, Howie. I'll just get this other clip up. Okay. Oh, just get this one going.
Nowadays, it's incredible to see the people out there that are, really putting their own houses on the line to put forth alternatives to the killing of sharks that still keep, our beaches safe.
The Eco Shark Barrier is made out of nylon. It's a rigid structure. There's 13,000 modules that make up the barrier. It's from the sea bed to the surface of the water, returning back to the beach, so it's 100% a safe zone to swim. And the barrier itself is not flexible like a net. It's quite rigid. So basically, if anything goes into it, bumps into it, it won't get tangled in it. The main benefit is that basically it is a safe and secure place to go swimming without harming any marine life. Unlike anything else out there. It's a world first, and it's been trialled for 4 months, and it's been super successful. It hasn't had any bycatch, didn't pull apart, didn't break, and couldn't ask for a better trial. Yeah, well, it is definitely a better alternative than drum lines. Obviously, it won't trap and harm any marine life. Where drum lines, they kill just about anything and everything that wants to eat bait, and that's bringing sharks in every day to eat the bait, which is ridiculous. It is their territory. There's no reason to harm them when there are other alternatives out there, such as the Eco Shark Barrier. I've talked to hundreds of people swimming inside the Eco Shark Barrier that wouldn't swim in the ocean with a drum line. So it's definitely worked the opposite to what the drumlines have. People like to swim in there, they feel comfortable and safe. Yeah, well, I've tried pitching it to the government and they haven't responded back and don't really care, I don't think. It's unfortunate that that is the real solution and it's not a very dear solution to shark mitigation and swimmer safety, but you know, you can try and pitch as much as you want, but when the government doesn't want to listen to you or won't respond back to any of your letters, you know, what do you do?
The other one that probably really like is the shark study program, which is being used in Cape Town and South Africa for a number of years now. And it's a program that's been initiated by Service for Service. And it's like a system, as I will say, where it's, you know, it's making sharks, whatever one of these things. And then people are always been officers just simply helping out and seeing their sharks in the system. And you run a time with some days and it's probably about like 20 times and they aren't going to break. And now everyone can get out of the water. It's one day, shark and go back in the water and surf.
In that situation where you're saying this going on trying to reduce the risk associated with the problem, all one is doing this business. Go through months and months and see what you're saying. One of the ones that can't place, let's get the question around that. And that can make them impact it could not have been large at the end. Did not survive the classmates. So not only like you understand things, ignore the elements are to face what's the and what the evidence against the use of those and still go down. So the safety aims mitigation that strategy. So and then the question was why do they choose that solution when we know there are other far more sophisticated solutions that they will have in place?
Okay. Yeah, so we've got a little bit of a, is this mic on? Okay, so we've got a little bit of a situation going on locally where there's been a couple of, I guess you call them shark attacks or shark nibbles. Sometimes it's sharks, they won't necessarily want to eat you, but they'll touch with their nose and they'll sense with their nose, so they'll go and have a little bite on something, and, you know, if it's a big tiger or a big white, you know, a bit of a bite can be fatal. So there was, you know, someone died recently in Ballina, and there was another attack down there recently. Some people are saying, oh, we've got to put the shark nets up and we've got to kill the sharks and all that sort of thing. Well, so obviously there are alternatives. You know, we don't always have to go straight for the gun and straight for these silly nets, not the eco barriers. There's, you know, when they're in sheltered areas like inside a river system or a cove, they work very well. I was up in Hervey Bay a couple of years ago and just sitting on Migaloo 2, and I saw this white thing on this whale, and I got the binoculars out, and sure enough, it was a shark net. It'd been towing this shark net around. I saw on the internet that there was a shark caught in a whale caught in a shark net a few days earlier on the Gold Coast, and you'll see, you know, there's usually about 7 or 8 or 9 whales actually tangled up in shark nets. And some of them die, and some get cut free. But this whale had nets around it, and you know, who knows what happened to that. I tried to get up next to it, and I tried communicating with it, and you know, maybe if that happened after I do this workshop, I'll be able to communicate a little bit better and say, look, just stop, and I'll cut the net off. You know? But unfortunately, it sort of took off, and who knows, you know, what happened, whether that carrying all that rope and the buoys and everything, whether that would make it too difficult to get down to the Antarctic to feed. I don't know, but whatever it is, these shark nets are definitely not very friendly to the local marine life and the migrating marine life. Unfortunately, there's a good chance that one or two or more whales could die just up from the Gold Coast up to Noosa, where there's probably about 15 shark nets. So one of our big campaigns is to get rid of the shark nets. They're really outdated. They've been here for about 50 years, and they basically were set up, to do with the Jaws movie, and people having this fear about sharks. Most of the time, sharks are fine. There's, I think, probably less than 10 fatal shark attacks around the whole world. So the chances, I think Paul Watson pointed out, the chances of dying is more of having a Coke machine fall on top of you than being eaten by a shark. So that's one of the alternatives that there is. There's, you can wear little electronic leg bands, do a few things like, not surf at sunset in river mouths and things like that. So that's one of the campaigns we're working on at the moment. And I just like to say it's just about break time. And we've got some beautiful dinner out there for those who want to have we've got a yummy curry and salad. It's a classic. It's the Bentley curry. If you're out in Bentley, it's Rotunda. She's a legend. Thanks, Rotunda, if you're watching from home. She had to go home today. She's made a beautiful curry. There's some beautiful pumpkin soup out there and some chai. And if you, the prices are out there. So the money from tonight is going in towards helping to cover some of the costs of Migaloo. Hopefully put some unfortunately, some fossil fuels in the tank. Most of the time I don't use them. Last year I ended up only using the motor for 4 hours over a whole month period, just sailing everywhere, So it's, I love Migaloo. So we're going to have a little break. Howie? Yeah, Howie's got a shark story. Come and sit up here and tell. I know what it is, and it's just absolutely amazing. So, it's not. Okay, Howie.
Nicole actually made a statement to go with that film, and I just wanted to make sure, because she couldn't get here, that I noted that statement. But I may not. Yeah, she said about the shark control program being unscientific and destructive. More than 350 scientists have spoken out against the shark program, which means the shark nets and the drum lines, and that it's just about creating a sense of security. And now we're in this, I'm adding my own words, but now we're in this problem where councils fear litigation if someone gets hit by a shark because they've taken away these antiquated systems. Last year there were 12 other dolphins caught up. She had footage of a mother and a baby dolphin. The baby dolphin was hooked in the stomach by a shark hook, and the mother was keeping the dolphin on the surface. 12 other dolphins caught and dead, hundreds of sharks, 19 sea turtles, 8 whales, 7 manta rays. Since 1962, 50,000 sharks have been killed by the system, and 30,000 non-targeted bycatch, in other words, whales and dolphins, and so on. So I'm just doing that for Nicole, back up her not being here, but I have this story. When surface visitations, we have these things called transparency voyages that we do. We did one with small sailing craft from Byron to Bondo one time with the humpbacks. More recently, we did one in New Zealand from Dave Rastovich paddling from Cape Egmont to Piha and meeting with Maori dolphins. But the second one we did was in California from Gaviota down to San Diego on these crafts, and we were met by 2 90-foot blue whales who swam right up to us, spouting over us and all sorts of stuff. And part of doing that tour down the coast, we had these 4 big events, like where a band of frequencies would be playing. We're all traveling together as artists. And a guy called John Peck came and sort of joined in with us for a while around Dana Point Institute. And he's a surfer who was the first guy to surf pipeline back in the 60s on a 12-foot board. And he told us a story around the fire, and he kind of just blew us away. And recently he's been back out here at the invitation of Dave Rastovich and spoke at the Broken Midgeon Flat Hall. Was anybody there that night? Pouring with rain, and the Babe Rainbow were playing music, and it was really fabulous. And he told the same story again with added detail. That night when he was telling us, he said how when he would swim out under the waves and he would look under the waves, he'd see all over the reef. This is in the 60s when there were lots of reef sharks. And he would go, oh my God, I just love you guys so much. He really loved sharks. He really was like in awe of them. And one day his board swung around and hit him in the neck, broke his neck and paralyzed him from the neck down. He was sinking in the sea. This is a guy, I've got to tell you, he's got long hair and a beard and just lives in a combi, and is a very, very high spiritual man, extremely high person, one of the highest I've ever met. He's sinking in the sea, and he's going, I'm going to die like this, and all these sharks rushed in, and he heard telepathically, he heard them say, do you need our help? And he went, yes. And they went to gather themselves together, and they hit him with this big jolt of electricity, and his paralysis went. And he went, oh my God, I can make it back to the surface. So he swam up to the surface, and he swam in, he got on the beach, and he said, nobody touched me, I think I've got a broken neck. And he surfs, he still shapes boards, he's in his 70s, and he's an amazing dude. He's like a Baba Ram Das kind of character, maybe a little bit more grumpy. But he told the story that night because we came back from California telling all the surfers, God, this guy is amazing. I mean, there were all sorts of people there that night, Metallica, Foo Fighters, all these people caught up in the story. And he's there at the hall, and the surfer said, can you tell us a story about the shark? The shark saved your life and everything. And, oh, I have to add something. When he said the story, at the end of it, we were just sitting there all stunned. He said, this is why I love sharks more than any other being on the planet. 420 million years of evolution. And we were all looking at him, and then he didn't move his mouth. And I heard him say, and they know everything about electromagnetism. And later on I said to Hilton, did you hear him saying, like, and everybody went, yeah, he carried on talking, but his mouth wasn't, he was, so he did it to us. He did a telepathy trick back to us. When he came out here and we were jamming down on Rasta's farm and stuff, at one point I said to him, hey, remember that time, John, you said the story and I was watching and you didn't speak, and I heard you say, and he just went like this, he went. But he was telling the story again because these surfers asked him, and he added this extra beautiful detail. He said that, yeah, when it happened, there was like 15, he said, these huge sharks, they were big sharks, came in and lined up, stood still in front of him, do you need our help? And 6 weeks later, with a broken neck, 6 weeks later, he was back in the water surfing. Amazing quick recovery. And a lot of friends are looking at him across the water, he's out there, and he's sitting on his board, and a big shark swims right up and just parks alongside him on his board. And he said, I was looking at the shark and I realized it was one of the ones that saved my life. And the shark says to him, how you doing? Did it go all right? And he goes, yeah, it's good. Only 6 weeks and I'm back in the water. And the shark goes, I really like your fins on your board, and lifted his tail up out of the water like the shark, or she, big one, lifted her tail right up out of the water and showed the bottom fin was the same shape as the fins on his board. His friends are looking across going, oh my God, what's John doing now with that shark? Like, and then the shark said to him, well, Sping, that's really great news, man. I'm going fishing. He just took off. And but it's such a beautiful story because, you know, I thought a lot about his story, and I thought when we think about animal communication, we always think in terms of like the way we think in terms of sound, you know, whales singing, dolphins, all that, and birds singing and everything. And here's sharks for 420 million years, this incredible sensory adaptation in the sea, the electromagnetic masters, and transcended all that and operate purely on a kind of telepathy in this electromagnetic world. And I believe, and I really believe this because this guy is telling the truth, I believe that the sharks were looking at him and saw an electromagnetic aura, his aura right around him, and that there was a break in the aura at his neck and it was broken apart. So it was like a black area, if you like, in the area, or a split here. And what they did was, with their power, like no other animal's got, of electromagnetic energy, understanding it, they did a temporary stitch, enough for him to get ashore and get into a hospital. And I was thinking about it that way. I was thinking, well, when someone cuts themselves at the beach or something, you bandage them up, you do a quick sort of fix it, you put, and then you get them to be fixed properly, and that's what the sharks did, and I believe that's exactly what happened. So yeah, they're just as we're starting to change our attitude a bit towards them and see them in new light, they're starting to reveal themselves. And this recently, scientists have been talking about the possibility that sharks have 16 different sensory perceptions. So they're really something special. All right, so that's a better note to end up on, sharks, I think.
Okay, I know you're all itching to get up to that curry. I just want to say, after the break, we've got Mukunda, Matt, and Soraya going to be doing some beautiful music, chanting, and also singing with the plants. We're going to hook up the plants, and we're going to hear what the plants have got to say. So don't miss out on that. It's going to be amazing. I just want to say on the SharkNet thing, Nicole sent me down a whole bunch of emails that you can send to various ministers, which I'm going to post up on the Migaloo 2 website tomorrow in the blog side. So if you want to do something to help the SharkNets, that's something that we can do now. They're under a lot of pressure because this footage of this baby whale getting hooked up and other dolphins and whales is putting a lot of pressure on the government now to get rid of the SharkNet once and for all. So now's a fantastic time just to send a few emails off and just do your part, speaking for the dolphins and the whales. So thanks for listening to that. There was a pretty solid little session, but now you're up to date, roughly, with, we could go on for ages, but that's roughly, a bit of a catch-up. We do this each year, so you don't have to sort of go through all the information. We'll just share it with you, but we really would love you to get a bit active and, use Migaloo 2 website too. I put a lot of information up there, so go out, grab yourself a curry, some soup, some chai. We sort of need a little bit of a hand in the kitchen there too. So if you're sitting around with that much to do, if you want to help serve some meals up, that would be greatly appreciated as well. So thank you. We'll be back in about 15 minutes, 20 minutes, okay, for the next half. So thank you. Yes, we're going to stick to miles. Thanks, Sarah. Thanks, Sarah. Thank you. You're a legend. All right.
Is the recording? No, it's actually recording.
We just have some. We just put some whale. Not really. I'm pretty sure that's why. This is it's just the whale song. It's just buzzing a little bit, isn't it? What about you can put the other mics off? They're mute. Okay. All right. Well, we can't do much about it. We're just going to play some whale song for about 15 minutes, and then come back.
Okay. That's good food.
Before you get started, what are the dates you're going to be going after Happy Day?
August, the second week in August to the middle of September. And there's a possibility maybe the third week in September as well.
I just have to bit home and go along in that. I leave on the 30th, I get back on the I know, because I really loved it. I had such a great trip this last one. I saw your boat actually in front of you.
I'm doing lots of work with it.
Oh well, I'll keep posted.
Yeah, stay. Okay. Hello. Okay, we're going to start again. Starting. How do you want to start off with the film, or do you want to test it first?
Yes.
The mics that's muted. These ones are off. Yep. Do I turn the mics?
I'll just do it from here.
I'll just make that frame a little bit bigger. Okay, welcome back everyone. Hope your tummies are nicely filled from that beautiful curry and chai. Thank you everyone. Thank you Ritamba for making that beautiful food. So I'd just like to introduce the next segment. We've got, is that right? Yeah, that's got to go really tight. There we go. Okay, this is Soraya, everyone, who came sailing with us last year and is enchanting with the whales, which we're going to play some.
Hi guys. So Dean's invited me along tonight to introduce the music of the plants and to do some chanting and with the whale song and with the plants. And last year I went chanting on Migaloo with Dean and a few other musicians, and it was absolutely such an incredible journey. What Dean was just talking about with the telepathic communication with the whales, we experienced again and again and again. And wow, they're just such heart-opening beings. And I guess my experience with whales before this journey, this trip, had been only, seeing them from the shore or pretty far away on a boat. And to actually have that opportunity to go deep into meditation and connect with them. Dean even has a device where we were listening to live whale song every night when we went to sleep. So I had download each night of all of these beautiful messages that I was being given from the whale world. And wow, and honestly, I felt like we spent 10 days in the presence of just total enlightened beings. Like, it was so powerful. And it took a few days on the trip to really drop in. Like, it's so beautiful just being on the water anyway, but to drop into that place of surrender and to get onto their level. And the biggest kind of, I guess, deepest experience we had was one evening. We were doing like sound healings and chanting every night and each morning. And once we'd been on there for 4 or 5 days, we decided to really send these messages out to the world. Okay, we're ready for whatever needs to come through. And we did this sound healing with the crystal bowls, and we were chanting, and it was just at sunset. And you know, when it reaches that peak in a meditation where you, like, as a collective, you all just feel it and you're so open in your hearts, we kind of reached that peak. And at that exact moment, we had a triple breach right next to the boats. It was 1, 2, 3. So they totally felt like our heart opening and us wanting to connect with them. And that was just like, you know, to the amount of times that I was brought to tears in that environment, like it's really humbling. And so I haven't actually seen the footage that Dean's about to show us. But it was, yeah, I'd recommend it honestly to anyone. And I'm going up again this year and taking a few friends, Matthias and Maddie and Tanya, and we're going to go chanting again for another week. So hoping to do it every year. Yeah, so if you are interested to do it sometime, please come and talk to me. And
there's can I just say just for a sec, there are options for people to come and join us in Migaloo. So if you want to come up, sometimes people come join the boat for like a week or so, and we can work something out. So just if you're interested in that at all, come and talk to me. And yeah, it's like change your life. Amazing.
Yeah, and I was just saying to Mookie outside, like I spent 2.5 years traveling the world living on a yacht, and I still, like, there's people that are going up to Harvey Bay on these big catamarans, and you know, you fit 10, 15 people on. But Migaloo too, it's seriously an amazing, beautiful, old, gorgeous boat, like monohull, old timber, like you really feel like you're sailing. And yeah, I mean, and Dean as a captain, like, he really holds space, and it's really beautiful. And because he's got this strong connection with the whales, we go to a deeper level. He's got all these amazing ideas of what we could do for different meditations to connect with them. So yeah, I would definitely recommend it. So before we watch the footage, maybe if we can just, I'm just so used to doing some kind of grounding before we start anything. So I'd really love to just drop into this space together of receiving. So if everyone can just close their eyes. Taking a couple of deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. Each time you exhale, just letting go of any thoughts, any mind chatter. So we can really just arrive here in our hearts together. Just recognizing that each and every one of us is here tonight because we have a desire to open and learn and expand. And to connect with these beings, these teachers of the animal kingdom, the plant kingdom, whatever it is, but the kingdoms that are beyond our intellectual mind. They represent the heart-centered space. So if we can collectively anchor that grounded intention of being in our heart with 3 Oms together. And then we'll watch this film before I go into music of the plants and some chanting. So take a deep breath in. And take a deep breath in. And exhale, let it go.
And just bring your attention to the consciousness of the whales that are swimming past our coastline at the moment. And know that they are aware of this little gathering happening here, and they're aware of us tuning to them. And they're waiting for us to communicate with them. They know it's time, but they're waiting for us to make a step. So make that step. Connect with them on whatever level you want to. And there's great awakenings we had there. Thank you, Wales. There you go, just a little taste. Yay, thanks, Soraya. It was awesome. So, Soraya, singing with the plants. There you go.
All right, so wow, it's really bright. I can't really see anyone. So, music of the plants. I don't know how many of you have seen anything to do with music of the plants, so I might just start a little bit from the beginning. So, the experience essentially of using mantra with the whales was because I totally feel and believe that mantra puts us in our hearts, and or singing, sounding, anything, you know, it just helps in it as a type of meditation. So what I've been working with is connecting with the plants through mantra, and the music of the plants. Essentially, this is a device that's from Damanhur, a community in northern Italy, and the device comes from 30 years of research from a book, The Secret Life of Plants, that was written in the 70s. Some of you may have read it. It's absolutely incredible. He speaks about this, it's about this ex-CIA agent that essentially had access to lie detectors, as you do in that profession, and he would hook lie detectors up because he had this desire to know what situations that plants would react under stress. So one of the situations, the main experiments, which I think actually kind of reflects the consciousness of plants, is he hooks a plant up and lights a match to this plant, and of course the plant goes under complete stress. But what he realizes is the plant actually starts to go under stress before he lights the match, when he first thinks about lighting the match. So essentially what he's done is taken then that to a whole nother level of proving the consciousness of plants in a scientific way, for those people who need that scientific sort of exploration. Then he separates the plants in separate rooms, and he lights a match with that same plant and puts them all in separate lie detectors. And every single plant goes into reaction with that one plant. It's reaction. So then he was showing, okay, wow, the whole plant world is connected. And it's been really amazing with this journey because the plants that are in pots sound totally different to the plants that are actually in the ground. So when you think of even Avatar, that mother tree, that connection of all the plant world. And yeah, it's I'm basically going to give you a bit of an introduction of the plants, but I really just want to focus this on us just doing some chanting and having the plants hooked up to the device while we're chanting, because this is where I've sort of gone with it. And what from all of the sort of work I've been doing with them, basically the plants are giving us a direct reflection of if we're in our heart. So they don't really sing when there's any restriction going on. And I've presented this workshop to like 120 people sometimes. And if there's any kind of restriction going on for me or for anyone in the crowd, they kind of close up. And in Dharmanhur, they ask, oh, is that a new one that we're going to try? In Dharmanhur, they ask you to actually... They ask you to meditate with the plants for, a while before asking them to sing, just to get into that really beautiful, yummy space, which I'm sure you're in when you're in Dharmanhur anyway. Christopher can probably vouch for that, hey? And so, yeah, the experiences that I've had with these plants, it's similar kind of heart activations that I was talking about with the whales. And I've always believed that plants are sentient beings, but it's definitely done some shifting in paradigm, which is why I had this vision of like bringing this around Australia, around the world, to be able to offer that to people and be able to see that plants are sentient beings and we can communicate to them and they can communicate to us. Like this, maybe I'll plug a plant in first and then we'll see if Maddie was just saying. So he's giving some Reiki to the plants right now. It does help. Maddie was saying that because it's really cold as well, that sometimes, like I've been noticing in my house, if I've got the heater on, that they're more open to sing because it's been so cold. They kind of go into hibernation, which is what we naturally should be doing when it's freezing like this. So I'll put the device, I'll give you just a little explanation of the device, and then we'll just do a short meditation, and then I'll talk a little bit more about it as we're listening to them sing. So basically we have like two receptors, and one of the receptors goes onto the leaf of the plant, one of the receptors goes onto a nail which goes into the soil, which acts as a conductor essentially for the root system plant. So it's reading the pulse and vibration of the plant through these receptors. It's going into this device, so similar concept to the lie detector, but what they've created in Dharmanhur. So the woman I've been working with, Tigrilla, who's been working with the plants for about 15 years, she's a sound engineer, and she's been working on creating this device with the whole Dharmanhur team. And essentially it's translates it through an algorithm, through a synthesizer, and into song. So like I was saying, song, sound, big as heart opening. So the plants are essentially singing all the time, they're vibrating all the time, but this then gives the plants a voice for us to hear their vibration, hear their song. And this song shifts depending on whatever is going on for the plant, just like in us, we're affecting every single person here, not just through the way we speak, but through the way that we feel through our electromagnetic field, vice versa, the same with the plants. They can feel everything that's going on for us, we can also feel for them. So all of the plants here are actually, I've been presenting this at the Crystal Castle, a few times a week, quite regularly. So the plants up there are the ones we've been training for the longest. But this one here, so these are all my plants and Maddie's and one random one that Dean just brought in. And then this one's just from outside because we thought, well, we should bring it in just because it wants to hang out with the plants. But basically, they're all at kind of different levels of their training. And by training, I just mean the more that they have the opportunity to sing, the more they do sing. So they are actually learning songs by the more we play music to them, which is so incredible. So there's these concerts happening over in Europe with the plants where musicians are playing riffs to the plants on violin, and the plant will play the exact riff back to them. So it has that memory somewhere in its field, So that's why we have to train them, because I've been playing different types of music to the plants, mostly kirtan, because that's just my passion. But the woman Tigrilla, who's the sound engineer, she loves psytrance. So all of her plants, they will go off on psytrance, whereas my plants will go off in kirtan. So it's more, I guess, conditioning. So, you find that funny, Willow? Okay, so I might just start with Clementine here. So Clementine, oh, she's so beautiful. She's I think this is so amazing. She's brilliant. She's been flowering for almost a year now. I was blown away. That's such a long time. And she's had a little pup in that time. She's had a little baby, and then that's going to be fun. So, so I keep thinking, oh gosh, she's going to die soon. And I get really sad, like that the flower's going to die. And because each time, so when the plant is flowering, it has a completely different song to when it's not flowering. So obviously the vibration of it changes because of that. So I might just plug. Is it all hooked up, Manny? So maybe we'll just do a little meditation first before we begin. So just closing your eyes, dropping out of the mind, dropping out of the thoughts. Coming to that yummy, yummy space of the heart again. Even releasing a bit of a sigh, letting go of all that headiness stuff that was so easily put in our brains. That can stop us from being in our hearts. Yay, she's putting us in our hearts just instantaneously. And just sending your love vibration, your energy towards Clementine. Making her feel safe, sending your warmth. So she feels open and comfortable to sing with everyone here. Sharing her sound, her voice, her healing. We'll just chant 3 Oms together, feeling this mantra that's said to be the sound of the universe vibrating. Take a deep breath in. So the story that I just want to tell you, I'll leave her plugged in for a bit. So when I first got Clementine, I asked the universe, okay, I want a plant that I can train and start to sing kirtan with her before. So when you first plug a plant in and they've never sung before, which I'll plug this one in here and see if she's up for singing, they just make a couple of sounds that just begin to explore the scales. But like I was saying with the concert plants, then they become a little bit more complicated with their music. So I wanted a plant that I could actually just play music to for a few weeks without asking her to sing, and then seeing if she would actually sing straight away. And as soon as I plugged her in after 3 weeks of chanting with her, she told me when she was ready. And then all of a sudden I went into this deep meditation, and I spent about an hour and a half chanting the Maha Mantra with her. And I actually had it recorded, and it's so beautiful. So we got to the point where it was about 45 minutes into it, where, you know, when you're in that state of bliss with kirtan, where you're just so open, there's no mind, there's nothing. And I was going up in the mantra, I was going Hare Krishna, and she would come up and follow me. And then I was going down, and she would come down and follow me. So each chord she would copy, and I would give her space to sing, and then she'd sing back to me, and I'd sing back to her. And I just started weeping. And the more that I was weeping in my heart, the more that she was doing this. It was just so, so powerful. So this was my first experience with Clementine, which is now, with the chanting, she just loves it. Which is just, to me, I think that the more, like, you know how with plant people, everyone knows, like, the more love you give to the plants, the healthier they do grow. So by asking them to sing, by singing to them, of course they're going to grow healthier. So hopefully she lasts another few years with her flower. So I might just put this sage plant on. When we do the chanting, I'll get Maddie to put them on different plants when Mookie and I do some music. So we'll do that just in 5 or 10 minutes. I'll just finish introducing them all. So the sage plant, a client of mine actually gave to me, and it's what this plant has been teaching me is that, wow, we can actually start to learn things from the plants through this device, because sometimes I've been running the workshops and the plants aren't singing at all, and then I sort of have this thought, I guess I just believe that they're communicating to me, giving me that thought of, oh, the fans are really, really loud, they're not liking this. And then I'll go to turn the fans off, and as soon as they're off, they'll start singing. So I really believe that they can, you know, transfer these conscious thoughts into our minds as well. So, sorry, Clementine, I know you had your moment, didn't quite live up to it, darling. We'll come back to you. So with the sage plant, he actually started singing straight away, and I use a lot of sage in my healing sessions, and I'm sure a lot of us use sage. Hello, you like the photo? And so I had this thought. I was like, wow, I'm burning the sage. And I thought, wow, so is there a way that, like, what if the leaves fall off this plant, and then I can use this plant's leaves in my sessions? So I'm actually growing them and giving love and know where those leaves are coming from. And the plant, he was singing like crazy for about 15 minutes until I had this thought, and I just asked him, I'm like, how do you feel about me burning your leaves too? And it just went completely silent, and it didn't sing for about 20 minutes. And I would just kind of was doing my thing in my room chanting, and then I was like, so what about if does that mean that you're already doing your work, like protecting, clearing the space just by being a sage plant and growing? And as soon as I said this to the plant, I had the thought and I said it out loud, it just started singing like crazy. So then I realized, wow, we can actually learn from the plants as well through this. So, I mean, obviously we all can't have like live sage plants in our room to cleanse every single room, but it's just like the beginning of like my experience of what we can learn from them in that way, you know? Hey, hey. One of the awesome stories and experiments, if you are interested, totally read this book. Dharma has actually released this really cool book which has collaborated all of the research and put it into one little book that's a lot more in layman's terms, so it's not so dense. And it's called The Music of the Plants, and it's great if you want to learn, you know, a little bit more about the different experiments they've done. But yeah, in the mornings I always thought, oh, you know, the flowers open to the sun coming up and the plants wake up to the sun coming up. But what they actually discovered is the plants are actually waking up to the birds singing, and the birds are singing to the sun coming up. So they're totally, like, they work on sound, they work on vibration before they work on, like, you know, we know they're sensitive to light, to touch. They're sensitive to chemicals, you know, we're seeing complementary planting chemicals, other plants. You've got a bit of a deep sound tonight. What's going on? So I found it really powerful. So you probably saw in the video, I'm doing yoga with the plants. So this is the next, because the meditation with the plants has been amazing, because it's really, you know, in meditation where you've really got to watch your thoughts. But when you've got someone sort of like, you know, being consciously sort of there giving the reflection, and it's singing along, and then all of a sudden you have a thought in your mind and it stops singing. It's like, it's asking, what was that thought? What did I have that made it stop singing, you know? So the yoga with the plants, I mean, you know, in yoga, the yoga I teach, it's like such a heart-opening yoga where you just hold the pose, and the more you go into the pose, you just go deeper into your heart. And then my experience with plants, the more they actually sing. So, even though you sing really beautifully, I'm just going to put Razor on, because Razor is a mint plant that's actually, like, seriously, last night I was singing so much for like 2 or 3 hours. I was having business meetings till late on Skype. He's just going off in the background. One of my business coach and marketing coordinator was like, what's going on? What's happening? Oh, that's just Razor singing away. Yeah.
She's only been singing for about a week now as well.
Oh, is it only a week?
Yeah, as soon as I hooked her up, she just started singing fluently.
Wow.
It was absolutely incredible. And one of my friends gave me Razor book called She Went Back to Czechoslovakia. And so I really wanted to record it, to send her a recording. As soon as I went over to record, I pulled my phone out to record it, she just stopped singing straight away. And the same thing, it was probably 20, 30 minutes. And I had the idea of putting my phone, I said, I'm not going to record you, I'm not going to, it's still nothing. I had to put my phone physically outside, and then she started singing straight away.
Yeah,
so
she's
do
very...
you find that plants have sort of signature tunes that they stick to?
Yeah, like different plants have different sounds. That's why I said I was really surprised at you when you're putting really into the deep sounds. But like I said, every single person here, all of our energy fields are affecting these plants. So of course, they're going to sound a little bit different. So right now, we're talking, and you can hear that it's getting a little bit more complicated as soon as Maddie starts talking. Because my plants will respond to me, but usually the plant that it's connected to will respond mostly to them. Yeah, keep talking.
Well, there was that experiment that they did where they hooked a plant up to like a similar biofeedback system, and they gave the plant control over opening and closing the door. And what they found is 9 times out of 10, the plant would open the door to someone who's new, someone's familiar with, and close it for a stranger.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I totally forgot about that one. So, before we go into the chanting with the plants, maybe I'll try... Oh, Dean, who is this? Who's this plant? Where did it come from? He looks a bit sad.
See, I've been in the back of my car for a little while. Because I wanted to bring it here tonight, you know. I actually brought this plant all the way from the Amazon. This is the ayahuasca, so I'd really love to look it up and
You did mention this a long time ago, and I didn't know we'd be doing it in front of everyone.
well, just I mean,
All right.
how could I resist?
Is it healthy?
Well, it's all right. It's just been well. Maybe you'll tell us.
Is it root?
What's that?
Is it a root?
It's a vine. It's a vine. Yeah, yeah. I brought it back from Amazon like 20 years ago. 25 years ago.
What's the seed count?
Yeah, 25 years.
It's been on the boat, away from any other plants.
So the idea,
That's
one of the ideas that I've had too is that we take the ayahuasca up to Harvey Bay, and we put this and we put the hydrophone and the microphone into the water, so that the ayahuasca and the whales get to sort of sing and play and talk to each other. So that's my little sort of crazy dream.
So can I share my demonstration?
Oh, please do.
Because we went there and met one of the founders who worked in the Secret Life of Plants, and she took us into the sacred forest in winter, by the way, and she said it's a very dormant time. They hooked up to a growing bud under the bark and to the root of this tree, and she told us that a tree consciousness is quite slow compared to human. And so we're like shooting stars. When we walk past them, it's gone. But if you wait 20 minutes with the tree, it will tune into you. And then it will become, its field and your field can mesh. You have to be around the tree that long. So if you're a tree hugger, hang around. And so she got this plant and then started to play this beautiful music. I mean, this is like nursery rhyme stuff compared to a symphony orchestra, is what we're listening to. Very beautiful, glissando, great music. We're listening to this beautiful plant. There were 7 of us in a circle around this tree. And she said, okay, just take your time, but I'd like you all to breathe in a rhythm. So we started to breathe in a yogic breath, breathing out, breathing in the same rhythm, but all just together. And I was looking at my watch, of course, because I measure things. It was about 17 minutes after we got there, and we've been doing this. We're listening to this gorgeous music. I can't describe it. It was just like a symphony from the angels. And then suddenly, we started to hear the surf coming in the background. It was like waves breaking and rolling up to the beach and then rolling back. And it was exactly in rhythm with that breath. Rolled up as we breathed in, rolled back as we breathed out. And she turned and said, there you are. The trees now just acknowledge you. That's connected to this group. So it might take a little time, and Suri's learning that you take time with the plants to learn more. But it was amazing, really amazing stuff.
Yeah, and I'm finding as well, like, the more that I let go of my mind with it, the more I can just surrender to whatever that stage they're at, to not push and to not go, okay, I'm not putting you on stage, darlings. I'm just wanting to share the consciousness for everyone else to share their consciousness, to see it from that perspective, because I think that they pick up on the vibration if it's not completely clear as well with the intention.
What about the light? Is there no try to put some light?
Sorry?
Lights instead of transferring to the sound and put lights?
Like for the device?
Yeah, but you cannot modify.
Oh, I'm sure that they could. Yeah, I don't think they have done it. But I'm sure that it's a similar kind of thing.
Yeah,
because what they did do was the like what Maddie was talking about with the experiment with opening the door. Instead of giving the plant the opportunity to sing, they gave the plant the opportunity to open it, close the door, or go on a cart and move right to left. So they're definitely looking at it in different ways.
That little cart, this was actually a thesis at the university. He set up a little cart and put a robotic cart and put the pot plant on it, attached it, and left it in a quadrangle at Milan University. And the cart taught itself over a period of a week or so to drive the cart forward so it was in sun all day, stayed in the sun. Last rays of western sun were. Turned it around, went back and waited for the morning sun. So they're pretty intelligent when you give them a chance.
And like Maddie was saying, even with the, or I was talking about with the shyness, like when they put it on the cart, they actually had this film crew there and they wanted this, for this specific shot, this plant to go straight down the hall so they could get it from a specific angle. And every time they pressed record, the plant just turned right and didn't go down the hall. And as soon as they took the camera away, the plant just went straight down the hall where they wanted it to go. So they do pick up with intention, like Maddie was saying with the phone, you know, like how clear is that intention? What are you trying to capture? All right, so before we go into the kirtan, I'll just put, oh, that's right, the oil stuff. Sorry. Has he got a name?
No, just Aya.
Thank you, Reza.
So is that the example of kind of like a normal tempo, so right? Or do they get busier than that?
They get busier than that. So Dean just came out and did some film. Hello. I said your name, Dean. I think it's attached to you.
Yeah, must not recognise it.
Hello. So the first time that sings, did you notice it just made a couple of sounds and then went really quiet, and then now it's kind of simply going up, down in the scales. So it's like when a dog or cat looks in the mirror for the first time and then recognises it's them in the mirror. So it's that moment of going, oh, is that me making that sound? Okay, maybe I can explore this, you know. That's why it's so beautiful to witness plants singing it the first time. Tagrilla also said that her experience with the plants in Australia, even if they're not Australian plants that are just growing here, she said they actually have a completely different sound to any of the other plants in the world. They've got this longer didgeridoo drone. So then it made me go, wow, when you think about the earth, like everywhere that we are drawn to, the earth is also so healing its energy, but then that's affecting the plants too. You stopped
Just
singing.
realised it wasn't from Australia.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking. I just thought that. I was like, oh no. Sorry, it came in the Amazon.
We still love you.
Sorry.
We still love you.
It's a boat plant. It's a boat
Plain planet.
So Dean came up and did some filming up on the property I grew up on up at Rosebank, and there's this tree fern up there that's so beautiful, and I'd always wanted to hear it sing. And Dean was filming me as I put it on, and it was just magnificent, the sounds that were coming out of it, and the older trees as well, like Christopher was saying, like that. It's really, really powerful. Like
banyan notes, like a banyan tree.
I haven't, no.
The other one is like banyan notes. It's like a really big palm tree.
Yeah, I mean, logistically, it's harder to go out in nature. That's why it's kind of easier when you're probably need extension cords and stuff. You know, you can't just go in the forest and look it up.
Like Aborigines Banana Festival and Session Course in January. It's like a big tribal gathering. It's on Maisie Street.
Cool.
Then you get some kids out there.
Yeah.
Have you played with just holding them in your own hands, and is it possible to make sounds?
Holding these in your own hands?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like a lie detector in that sense, that they will make sounds, but there's no clarity with sounds or anything, because it's designed to be reading from the pulse of that specific thing. But yeah. so many people ask that, and it's funny because I haven't even experimented. Like, well, have you tried it on animals? And have you tried it on? But you know, I don't know why. I guess because I'm just so, yeah. I guess I haven't really experimented beyond what I'm loving. You know.
I feel like I asked the question just for the scientific part of my brain.
Yeah,
just
that,
to understand
yeah,
what is happening there and what
totally
happening in humans, or like, yeah. So it's just helping me out.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's important. Like, that's what's so amazing. Hello.
I have actually held on to it myself, like put quite a bit onto my hair and then just held on to the other part. And I've just found it just scattered and like you can't control it, so then I think like when I want to do it.
Yeah, and that's why I think it's good for other people to experiment, because I'm just such an intuitive person. I'm just in such, you know, trust and work on that level. But I think men, that male mind, more logical, I think it's important. That's why I'm like, spread it. Everyone buy devices, let's all do our experiments. We can come together and collaborate and talk about it, you know.
Is the device actually very expensive or hard to get?
I mean, it's $1,250. I'm hoping to get like 3 or 4 devices, so this is the only one I've got. But like, so we can do a bit of a like concert with the plant, so we can have a few going on, and then hear the interaction between the two. Because I've only done that once, where I've hooked it up 2 devices at the castle. But yeah, that would be amazing.
So have you done this with animals present? So you know, the animals hanging around the plants and how they respond?
Yes. So my sister's dog Ty, such a beautiful, beautiful Labrador, and he came in. One of the plant was just hooked up, and he came inside, and the sound was coming. So the speakers were over here, the plant was over here. He didn't go and bark at the speakers. He went straight to the plant and started barking at the plant, which I just found so amazing. Like, he knew that that was the plant sound. Yeah, it was really cool.
And then when we were recording up there, the dogs were playing and the plant was singing really well, and then the dog went really close, and the plant just stopped straight away. Just felt the shock of the and then it's alright, it's alright. And then Sarai just said, no, it's alright, he won't hurt you, it's alright, and then he started singing again. That's beautiful.
Yeah, amazing.
Plant really likes it when you talk.
He does, doesn't he?
Playing beautifully.
What?
You have a name.
Oh, it's just I haven't. I've got a few of them.
All right, so before we just go into the kirtan, I might just try this one that was outside, just so you can get the feel for the plant that hasn't ever sung. Thank you, beautiful one. Thank you. Maybe it'll start to grow a bit healthier now.
Huh? A car, yeah. Maybe an aeroplane. Space rocket.
So that was playing with the clip on the plant and the other.
Yeah, so it will only take half of it. So what we've done that before, because one of these are broken a couple of times, like one of the receptors, and it'll play a little bit, but it'll only play like half of the music, like half the sound. So each sound, in terms of musically, like each note that it logistically plays is actually the device is playing 3 notes per note. So it's translating each one just for the musical reasons for our
I was intrigued that it was playing because you had the prong in your hand.
So I had one on here.
And the other
and
one in
one
your hand.
in my hand, yeah.
So could you say the electromagnetic energy between the two of you was producing any sound? And if you held the prong and the plant and played together?
Possibly. I don't know. These are all great questions. I don't know. I mean, it's not singing at all now. But
I was just wondering, like, kind of like gender in the plants, and I was wondering if there's anything that, like, if that's your intuition, like in terms of
yeah, it's totally my intuition.
music or like
Yeah. I actually don't really even think about it. I just end up calling him he or she, depending on the energy of the plant. Yeah. And I think it's also because it feels really foreign to me as well.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, I feel a lot more connected. And I think that's been really big part of my journey with it as well, because I love animals so much. And I feel like they give us so much healing. And whenever I go down the street and I see a dog, I'll give him like so much attention. I just want to sit there and hug it and kiss it. But I've never really fully taken in the plants in that way and appreciated them. When I walk down the street and I see a beautiful tree, I'll honor it and go, oh, that's a beautiful tree. But I won't go up and give it all this attention. And so it's really made me go, wow, thank you for also doing that, you know, opening me up and appreciating that way. And that's what I found, like, it's been so interesting doing this in the Crystal Castle, because, you know, you get a lot of people come there that are completely new to anything like this and are very much in the mainstream world. And it's been fascinating watching literally their whole paradigm just go shift, you know, and they walk out of there walking through the gardens in a completely different way. It's amazing. And even I've had tree loppers come to the workshop and they're all of a sudden questioning their careers. Or like one guy, he now has started this business, which is conscious tree lopping, where he does ritual beforehand. Before he asks for, yeah, I mean, that's because...
What about mowing the grass?
Yeah, I mean, this brings up so many questions, and I don't know the answers to all the questions, but one of the experiments they did was... you know, because so many people are going, okay, so what do we do now? What do the vegetarians eat? Because if they're conscious beings, what else is left? The vegans are stuffed. So what I've sort of, I mean, what all Indigenous cultures believe, you know, if you honour something, hello, darling. If you honour something beforehand, you give ritual, you know, then you're honouring the spirit of that plant or that animal. Hello, beautiful. So one of the experiments, well, one of the concerts of the plant was actually in a vegetarian restaurant over in Germany, and the plants were singing like crazy. There was a whole concert going on, you know. But as soon as all the plates of food came out with dead plants on them, the plants just stopped singing. So that's where they went into this whole questioning of like, well, what's left to eat now? But once they sort of did prayer with the ritual and said thank you, the plants started singing again. Yeah. Okay. So, sorry, babe, I don't think you're really up for it, are you? Thank you, though. So, Mookie, I would love you to come do some chanting, because I feel like I've been talking for a really long time. What's the time? How long do we
can
have?
we leave it on her?
Yeah,
See if she'll sing without chanting.
On this one?
Your favorite one. Your favorite one.
No, on that one. If we can leave it on her.
Yeah, sure. I'll leave it on her for a bit, and if she doesn't within that sort of hour, Manny, do you mind coming over and doing the
one with Kirtan.
Yeah, we'll sing some kirtan and see if we can give it some love. Some water.
Unmute those mics.
Test. That good?
Yeah, that's good. Mookie, can you?
No.
Beautiful. All right, do you mind just managing it a little bit? Oh, how sorry, gorgeous. I'm not even going to want to sing because okay. So
Cheryl from the Byron Shire. I'm sure everyone has experienced kirtan before. But just a little bit of an introduction. We'll be singing mantras, and it's not about what you sound like. That's the power of kirtan. It's actually just about feeling that vibration in the body of that mantra. So this is not a performance. The only reason we have the mics is to encourage you to sing louder. And we're doing call and response. And the power of this is, it's really good physically for our nervous system, but also it's that balance of the masculine and feminine, giving and receiving, giving and receiving. So we might just start with some ohms, and then I'll go into a mantra which is Radhe Rani Ki Jai. And I always love to start with this one because it is the balance of the masculine and feminine within and without. And because I really want all of us to sing, because we're singing to these plants, and the idea is that we're going to sing with these plants and open up our hearts so that will sing more with us. So this is representing the dance between Radha and Krishna, and Krishna being unconditional love, and Radha's devotion to unconditional love. I should be asking Hare Krishna here to explain this better now. And so the words are Radhe Rani Ki Jai. I just want to repeat them to back from that down. Radhe Rani Ki Jai. Maharani Ki Jai. Bolo Radhe Govinda. Ki Jai Jai Jai. Radhe Radhe Sham. Bolo Radhe Radhe Sham. Bolo Radhe Radhe Sham.
Bodorate Govinda ki jai jai. Bodorate Govinda ki jai jai. Bodorate Govinda ki jai jai jai. Bodorate Govinda ki jai jai jai. Radhe Rani ki jai, Maharani ki jai. Radhe ki jai, Maharani ki jai. Radhe Rani ki jai, Maharani ki jai. Maharani ki jai, Maharani ki jai. Bodorate Govinda ki jai jai 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 jai. Rate rate sham bolo, rate rate sham. Rate rate sham bolo, rate rate sham. Rate rate sham bolo, rate rate sham bolo. Rate rate sham bolo, rate rate sham. Rate rate sham bolo, rate rate sham. Rate rate sham bolo, rate rate sham. Rate rate sham bolo, rate rate sham bolo. Rate rate sham bolo, rate rate sham. Rate rate sham bolo, rate rate sham bolo. Rate rate sham bolo, rate rate sham. Rate rate sham bolo, rate rate sham. Rate rate sham bolo, rate rate sham. Rate rate sham bolo, rate rate sham bolo. Rate rate sham bolo, rate rate sham. 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 Together. Rate rate sham bolo, rate rate sham. Rate rate sham bolo, rate rate sham. Rate rate sham bolo, rate rate sham. Rate rate sham bolo, rate rate sham bolo. Rate rate sham bolo, rate rate sham. 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 Rate
Radhe Shyam, bolo Radhe Radhe Shyam.
Radhe 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 Radhe Shyam, bolo Radhe Radhe Shyam. Radhe Radhe Shyam, bolo Radhe Radhe Shyam. Radhe Radhe Shyam, bolo Radhe Radhe Shyam.
Radhe Radhe Shyam, bolo Radhe Radhe Shyam.
Radhe Radhe Shyam, bolo Radhe Radhe Shyam.
Radhe Radhe Shyam, bolo Radhe Radhe Shyam.
Radhe Radhe Shyam, bolo Radhe Radhe Shyam.
Radhe Radhe Shyam, bolo Radhe Radhe Shyam.
Radhe Radhe Shyam, bolo Radhe Radhe Shyam.
Radhe Radhe Shyam, bolo Radhe Radhe Shyam.
Bolo Radhe Govinda ki jai, jai, jai.
Bolo Radhe Govinda ki jai, jai, jai.
Bolo Radhe Govinda ki jai, jai, jai.
Radhe Govinda ki jai, jai,
Radhe Rani ki jai, Maharani ki jai.
Radharani ki jai, Maharani
Bolo Radhe Govinda ki jai, jai.
Radhe Govinda ki jai,
Radhe Govinda ki jai, jai, jai. So we gave them a group and that's just saying. When Dean came up with the device to get some footage, we tried, and I have tried so many plants in my garden, and some of them, probably like 60%, I would say, of them didn't sing. And the ones that seem really, really happy, like were really, really healthy, did. I mean, I don't know why some do and some don't. The reasons, like when I've spoken to all the research they've done. Who starts singing?
This one's ready.
Oh, she likes the chant.
you know, that they do talk about it from really scientific perspective, that there are times where plants sleep, there are times where they're inwards, there are times where they're just introverts, like sometimes we have our times inwards. And also, you know, when we're not shining our light, we don't really feel like singing. So when they're not in their healthiest space, maybe they don't. I don't know.
Another one might be hot down.
Yeah, I think that one needs to be repotted.
Oh, does it?
It's got like 3 plants in one, and it's so solid, that pot.
Yeah. Well, we just took it from out in the
Just to write a note on it before we go.
Yes.
Repot me.
Okay. So maybe we'll do the Maha Mantra with Clementine. So the Maha Mantra. Do you want to introduce the Maha Mantra, Mookie? You're really beautiful at saying.
First of all, what a wonderful space to be in, and it is such, knowledge and get understanding of the marine life and the nature of interaction between animals, the marines, us. It brought up a few points in reflection on in Vedic literature. They speak about Jiva Tattva and consciousness coming in five different levels. And then in every living entity, no matter what body they have, there's that, they can get categorized within these five divisions. So it's really kind of brought to my attention to kind of, wanting to look into this deeper, because it's so real. And it slips our minds so quickly, interplay of life and respecting and dealing with one another and, the animal kingdom, the plant kingdom. So, and I also recall hearing and reading of, in time gone by, how when they speak about personalities being able to communicate all languages, they're speaking about the language of plant life and animals and whatnot. So, from my limited understanding in this age of Kali Yuga, our own ability is limited due to our conditionings, our surroundings, what's influencing our consciousness. So in relation to that, the Hare Krishna mantra, there's 3 words, Hare Krishna and Rama. So Krishna is the all-attractive. When they're looking at spiritualism, spiritual life, they're talking about impersonal and personal. So this is a very personal connection point through sound vibration, Krishna being the all-attractive. Hare is that feminine aspect, which you're sharing, internal potency. And Rama, the reservoir of that energy. So in chanting Hare Krishna and Rama in the Maha Mantra, it's getting access into being able to dive deeper within ourselves, within sound, and activating those Satchit Ananda, knowledge, the bliss, and the goodness of life. So,
yeah, we'll do this one again in call and response. And I mean, the hands, there's so many meridians in our hands that are heart meridians, and they're just extensions of our heart. So like, in kirtan, when we clap, it's actually because we have that craving to activate our heart more and more and more. So it's a beautiful way to even open up in that sense. And sending so many of these yummy vibes, let's just channel them over to Clementine. We want to sing with you. We want to sing.
Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Krishna Krishna Hare
Together. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Namaste. So thank you everyone for chanting with us. Hamilton wasn't out for what she's singing, or we just couldn't hear her. Anyway, this is the surrender. I remember Christopher came to the first workshop that I ran with the music of the plants, and they barely sung. They had a couple of sounds there, and this has happened a few times. Sometimes like 89 people, and that's where I've just gone into such surrender. You know what? It's all meant to be how it's meant to be. I'm just trusting that. So yeah, I'm glad that you got a little bit of an experience of them. They're beautiful ones. If anyone does know anyone in Sydney that would be interested in coming and seeing doing the Yoga with Plants workshop, please spread the word for me, because it's our first time going on Sydney and we're thinking of Melbourne at the end of the year as well. Yeah, blessings. And thank you so much to Mookie. He actually had another Kirtan gig tonight. I said, please come drum with me. I need support. And Maddie for helping to be Reiki to the plants and supporting as well. And Rosie just keeps wanting to sing.
Is that the mint?
Absolutely. And yeah, if we could just give Dean a huge round of applause for all the amazing work he's doing. It only takes like a few of us just to share his campaign and to spread the word, because seriously, like I totally believe that, you know, what you're doing is making a difference, Dean. So keep doing it.
Same to you and everyone else too.
Yeah, blessings. Thanks for being here on this Friday night. And I just want to quickly say I'm running a yoga festival tomorrow in the Hinterlands in Eureka, and it's a free yoga day with yoga, meditation, sound healing, everything. It's the launch of Yoga Fari, which is an international yoga retreat. So I'm starting next week. First one's in Mozambique. So yeah, come join. Thank you. Blessings.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I'll just finish off the night, just reminding people that if they want to get a little bit active and take some action for some of the things that you've been made aware of tonight. If you go to my website, migaloo2.com, I've got a lot of places, people that you can email. Actually, give me until about tomorrow afternoon until I upload all the addresses that have been sent to me. And yeah, just send a few emails off at the moment, especially to do with the shark nets, because that's going to not only save sharks, but also save a lot of whales and other creatures too from getting caught up. It's showing us, humanity, that we're taking another stage and another step in evolving ourselves in our consciousness, but also our relationship with the other billions of species that live on this planet with us. So yeah, and if you feel to be involved in the animal communication, the Whale Whisperers film that I'm making, there'll be links on Migaloo 2 site to go there too, and be involved in the project. As I make the film, I'll be uploading clips and stuff as well. So if you go on the newsletter, you'll get little clip updates of how the film's going. So you actually become involved in the project, and it's only $10 to get on the newsletter, and you get a downloaded song and la la la. So get involved. And also, if you want to, I've just got a bit of paper out on the front desk there. If you want to put your name down, I can sign you up to the newsletter. Another easy way to do it too is to go to the website. There's a little newsletter sign up there that puts you on the MailChimp, so I get you, let you know about when things are happening, and also when I do live streaming events too, which I want to get into more and more, and that's part of it. That crowdfunding campaign too is to up the ante with the equipment a bit, so we're able to get really good quality images and audio out to the world, because I think the net's there, we might as well use it. So I'd also like to thank Howie too for coming tonight, and all the wealth of information and just inspiration that my brother over here brings. And also for painting this beautiful mermaid on Migaloo too over the last week or two. If you haven't seen the photos on Facebook, come down to Brunswick Harbour and have a look at it. She's just sitting there right in front of the fish and chip shop, So come down and say hello. I'm just going to sign off here on the broadcast, and to all you, whoever you are, 1 or 2 or 10 or however many people have tuned in over, thanks for tuning in.